Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple hours, along with Nick.
Hi.
Oh, hi. And Spence is here.
I am here. And why is it that my chat is auto when I go to the web to the show page? Why is it my chat is auto logging in?
I don't know.
Isn't that weird? So that's why I typed my name in, because I thought I was logging in.
Contact your sysadmin.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it. Yeah, the sysadmin. I don't know. That's support.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning show is made possible by VMWare software and sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. It was an eventful, weather-wise, it was an eventful week here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I had water coming in from my back door in my garage because my drain in the lawn in the back couldn't handle the amount of water that was coming in. So it actually came into I was like, wow, I got a leak in the garage. There's no plumbing in my garage. It's like all over the floor, there's water. And like, oh, it's coming through the back door. Yeah.
Jeez.
I was getting gas over DJ's when the worst storm hit. What day was it? Monday, Tuesday?
No,
there was several days. Well,
Oh.
it was yesterday too, but there was the beginning of the week, there was a gully washer. It literally was pulling out of the BJ's gas station where I was like huddling in the car because the rain was coming in. And there's water coming down from the upper parking lots going through the BJ's parking lot into the reservoir. And it was probably 10 inches deep. I literally found a place to pull off and wait for the worst of it to stop.
I don't know about you, Nick, but we didn't have any rain yesterday.
Yeah, didn't we have much? No.
It must have gone on the southern part and hit Wilmington. No, yesterday was a
storm system, but still.
It was a pretty nice day. But it's over. Hey, Gal. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. So, what else is happening in computer world?
I'm still having an issue with my Roku remote.
Really?
Yeah, I got some. There is some corrosion on the Roku remote, but it's interesting, Amnon. The home button works. That's it. None of the other controls work. None of the lights come on. It's very bizarre.
Did you drop it in water or something?
No, I'm positive I didn't drop my Roku remote in water. Hold on a second. Let me go grab it.
In hard liquor?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes
interesting.
It's weird that usually it's a connectivity issue with the springs. You got to clean them with
So
vinegar or baking soda or something like that.
I hit it with some isopropyl alcohol. I took a wire brush to it and cleaned it. I think my next step, I have to look at a video. There's one little screw in the camera, in the battery port. It's right there. Open it up. And I'm thinking that maybe the corrosion trickled down inside, and maybe the corrosion is following the contact to where the spring actually touches the terminal.
Very possible.
but it's weird because the home button works, and when I put the battery in, the Roku shows that the remote is connected because it shows the battery indicator. So it's getting enough power to do something, but none of the buttons work except for the home button. The IR blaster doesn't work. The volume control doesn't work. The sound works. If I go to because I've been using the Roku app on my phone to control it, and if I go to find my remote, the audio cue plays. So it's a freaking bizarre situation.
If you can use the app, can you go in and remove the remote?
No, because I can't pair it. I can't put it in pair mode.
Oh.
So it's super, super weird. This afternoon, or when we get off here this morning, I'll take it out in the garage or take it over here to the desk behind me and crack open this back case.
Roku Express 4K, $25.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I like my Ultra, but damn, these remotes are expensive. These remotes are freaking $30.
Yeah.
The voice activated remotes are expensive, and at $30, I'm almost better buying another Ultra for like $60 and putting this Ultra somewhere else.
Does it use Bluetooth?
No, I don't know.
I think it's some other RF. I'm not sure.
But it's got. I know for a fact it's got IR because it works. The nice thing with these remotes is they can connect to you set them up with the code from your television.
Yeah, universal.
So the volume controls my sound bar, which is a Vizio sound bar not connected to anything. That's why I really like this remote. It's one, and because my TV detects standby on HDMI, when I press the home button, the Roku wakes up and it turns the television on, and then the power button turns the
that's
TV
through
off.
HDMI. That's the HDMI control.
Yeah, but then the power button turns the TV off and the soundbar off too.
Yeah.
It's a really nice setup, and I'm
nice.
a little miffed. So hopefully
Nick,
it's just a little more corrosion.
Try one thing. Well, I mean, it'll be a good idea to open and see if there's more corrosion. But another thing that I remember doing to a lot of these where you put batteries in is stretch the spring. Just take a small flat screwdriver and stretch the spring, the negative part, so it will hold. It will put more pressure on the plate that it's connected to.
Yeah, I've done all that, and it's weird. So I just put the batteries in it, and the green light flickers really fast a couple of times, and then kind of pulsates. It's not even pulsating. It's just like it's got a problem. It's not supposed to be doing that. And if I roll the batteries, it starts and stops.
You got intermittent connection.
It's intermittent. Yeah, it's super weird.
It's trying to communicate you with Morse code. It's saying help, help.
Yeah, it's an SOS. What's that police song? Send an SOS to the world. Yeah, that's what my Roku remote is doing. So yeah, it's obviously it's not a technology issue, but yeah, all the last.
Yep. But when you
I haven't been on, I haven't been on for a couple weeks because I haven't been home. I've been so busy. But a couple weeks ago, my girlfriend came over for dinner and was getting ready to turn the 5:30 or 6 o'clock news on, and I'm mashing the home button, and sometimes the Roku gets stuck. Right? It needs to be rebooted. So I unplugged the power, plugged it back in. The damn remote won't work. So I changed the batteries, and now I'm starting to get pissed because I haven't touched this remote I haven't touched the remote. So interesting. Hopefully I can break it off today and get it all fixed up. It's an odd issue though.
But does the Roku support pairing a keyboard?
They're really weird with they're weird with the devices. The cool thing is, and I'll tell you this, if you have a Roku and you haven't used the mobile app, this app is awesome. This is it's the full remote from the app. You can do audio through it. You can do the voice control. It's got a full QWERTY keyboard, which obviously the regular remote doesn't have. It's really cool, and it's connected to all my units. So all three of my Rokus are on this. So this has been a godsend that this works, but it doesn't control the audio from my sound bar, and it's just kind of a pain. But it's cool. It shows you can launch your recent channels from it. The mobile app for the Roku is really, really neat.
Now, Nick.
Yeah.
The first time we talked about it, you said the remote was dead.
Correct.
And then when you started fiddling with the batteries, it flickered kind of, and
now
took
the
it
home
from
button.
the-
Now
yeah.
the home button works.
Yeah.
But nothing else. But it always has, and I will say this, and I didn't mention this to you when we talked on Friday. Whenever I took the batteries out and put the batteries back in, the Roku would always detect the remote and try and do a firmware update to it. So maybe it's bricked through a firmware update or something. I have no idea.
Guile, any insights from you?
Ever had an issue like this?
It's odd, right?
It is.
So
But have you Googled any of this?
I have, yeah, and well, so I did, and I think the problem, what I was Googling, I think was not the right symptom at the time. I think I did have a corrosion issue, and I'm wondering now if the controller is bricked from it being a little bit of having some power issues. I looked at Roku apparently has an RMA process, but this device is older than a year old, so it's out of that RMA period.
So why would there be corrosion?
It would have been
Battery-
from the battery leak.
The batteries leaked.
Ah, battery leak. Okay.
Yeah, which I
missed that,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah, which I didn't. You know, I don't replace the batteries that often, but I'd say it's at least 2 times a year, maybe. I mean, it's a remote; it doesn't draw a whole lot of power. I don't use the audio functionality on
No,
it, so
the
it's not
fact that
doing
the
a lot.
battery leak has nothing to do. It's just
Yeah.
bad battery.
Yeah, well, which
Ah.
and if they are everybody's favorite Kirkland signature AA batteries.
Costco.
So yeah, it's an odd issue. Hopefully, I'm hoping the corrosion just followed the lead down to the PCB that the thing is, and I can just hit that with a wire brush and clean it all up. So yeah, odd issue. But word for the wise, if you have an iPhone or an Android, download the Roku app. Even if you have a working controller, it's so much easier to type.
Typing, yeah.
Yeah,
If you need
so-
to search something, yeah.
So there you go. That's my story from the week.
All right. Just, I mean, if you're doing a load of laundry, just throw it in there.
I mean, at this point, I might as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to know. Let's see. One thing that I got here was interesting. Again, ransomware. Goodwill Ransomware Group.
Goodwill, like the place where you buy used clothes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Goodwill. Propagates a very unusual demand in exchange for the decryption key. That's coming from CloudSync. The Robin Hood-like group is forcing its victims to donate to the poor and provides financial assistance to the patients in need. Once infected, the Goodwill ransomware worm encrypts documents, photos, videos, databases, and other important files and renders them inaccessible without the decryption key. Yeah, normal ransom. In order for the victims to obtain the decryption key, they must provide proof of donating to the homeless, sharing a meal with the less fortunate, and pay a debt of someone who can't afford it. The decryption kit includes the main decryption tool, password file, and a video tutorial on how to recover all important files. It's only given to infected users after the 3 activities are verified by the ransomware operators who appear to be operating out of India. So it's like they're not asking anything for themselves.
Yeah, it's still illegal.
Yeah, of
It's-
course it is.
Yeah.
But I love that section of pay a debt of someone who can't afford it. They're not talking about any limits here, so yeah, maybe they can pay the mortgage of somebody, you know. Yeah.
I mean, if these people are so interested in doing good, why are they wasting their time hacking companies and Why are
Right.
they not
Yeah,
trying to
well,
help people? I mean, it's like, yeah, you're so hell bent on having the people that you've crypto lockered help the less fortunate. You can't spend your time better helping those people than stealing somebody's data and holding it for ransom. I mean, that's a little suspect.
So who's using VMware?
Let me use VMware in a hot minute.
Well,
Yeah, VMware you'll see today mostly in enterprise.
so
Have they gotten rid of their free version, Gal? For a while, they had like a free, like kind of home version.
No,
It was called
VMware Workstation still exists.
Okay, yeah, because that was my first attempt at doing virtualization. I used the VMware Home back. This is back probably almost 10 years ago, which is crazy to think. And it worked pretty well.
I used to use it mainly for running older apps that wouldn't run on the OS I had. Like if you had a Windows 7 machine and you needed an XP app to run, you'd run an XP instance.
Are you talking about? I think you're talking about VirtualBox.
Oh, you can use VMware.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
there's an image somewhere for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Broadcom bought them.
Yeah, I heard this.
So Broadcom has signaled its $61 billion acquisition of VMware will involve a rapid transition from perpetual licenses to subscriptions. That's according to Tom Krause, president of the Broadcom software group, which said it on a call last Thursday. He was asked how the semiconductor giant plans to deliver on its guidance that VMware will add approximately $8.5 billion to Broadcom within 3 years of the deal closing. Significant growth given VMware currently produces about $4.7 billion. And subscriptions was the answer. Krause also repeatedly said Broadcom intends to invest in VMware's key product portfolio and is pleased to be acquiring a sales organization and channel relationships that give it reach Broadcom does not currently enjoy. So that's the thing, is that they're not mentioning anything about the free version.
There's more to this story, though.
Okay, go ahead.
You know who owns VMware right now?
I don't know.
Dell.
Oh wait, yeah, I read that. No, Dell doesn't own it. He owns
Dell bought the company that owned. I don't know what. I think I was listening to DH Unplugged, or maybe it was Noah Gent. No, I think it was DH Unplugged, and they were talking about this. Yeah, Dell bought the company that bought VMware back like 10 years ago, and then now it's being shuttled over to Broadcom, who's trying to, I guess, expand their. I mean, they're a chip fab. That's what Broadcom's always been, a chip company, and I guess they're trying to diversify. And this makes sense. Maybe they start making chips that are specifically built for virtualization or something of that nature. I don't know. It's an odd acquisition for Broadcom. I don't really know why they're doing it. It's not doesn't really play into their business model at all.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, when you think about VMware's business right now, okay? There's two aspects. One is local virtualization, but that is dying away, and you're going to see more and more virtualization in the cloud, right? Mm-hmm. Today, the major players are AWS, where I think they're using Zen still. It's just because they started with Zen back then. I don't know if they've switched to KVMs. And anybody else who's building a solution other than Azure's, which is Microsoft, they're using their Hyper-V backend. You have KVM, you have Linux, you have open source. There's Oracle doing VirtualBox, but that world is a bit different, or at least I haven't seen it. I don't think it acts as a backbone like KVM or ESXi from VMware. So these technologies, right? They're basically, everybody knows that eventually all of the money is in cloud computing because of the way you can deal with a widespread audience, and you're not limiting yourself to specific hardware issues that the end customer uses, etc. Broadcom is a chip manufacturer, but this is their chance in touching the cloud. What I don't understand is how come Dell is giving up that business. That's the bizarre part.
Mm-hmm.
Now Dell, you said they purchased the company that purchased EMC. That's not a small company. EMC, right?
Yeah, they purchased EMC
and
back like 2012 or 13, something like that.
right.
Yeah, it was
And
a while
back
ago.
then, I mean, they're doing good with EMC as far as I know. I haven't checked the numbers, but I mean, I see them in the field a lot. But their main competition in storage are cloud providers of storage. So those are pushing away the EMC Isolons, these behemoth of local storage. So I'm guessing a similar move is happening with virtualization in general, not only storage. And it could be that Broadcom is just acting on that. So definitely a strange move, but I'm guessing it's mainly strange because we don't follow the financial world of tech that closely, right? We mostly report on it after something happened. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
Huh? Well, wait and see. All right. Now, do you have enough internet speed at home? Dove? 25
enough.
gigabits per second.
How much?
25. Both downloadings and uploading. CRN reports broadband infrastructure wholesaler Chorus demonstrated two speeds over their existing passive optical fiber network. The demonstration in Auckland achieved 21.4 gigabits throughput, tested simultaneously on the same strand of fiber that ran an 8 gigabits symmetric hyperfiber connection. Chorus uses Nokia's Lightspan FX and MX access nodes for multiple type of fiber service. It is based on the Quillian chipset line on the Quillian chipset line cards, which Nokia says are 50% more energy efficient than earlier models. Their chief technology officer said the 25 GPON, that's gigabits passive optical fiber
network. Yeah.
demonstrated a future-proof technology, although two wavelength 50 gigabit service is appearing as a choice for providers with 100 GPON on the horizon. Chorus is betting that the 25 gigabits variant will offer the best cost benefit over for providers, and it can use existing optics equipment. So they can go up to 25 gigabits on the current um, fiber. Now, Spence, what is, I mean, if there is a passive optical fiber network, what is an active?
It means it has repeaters. Passive means it does not get regenerated. It's close enough to the head end that the signal is strong enough that it makes it all the way to the end without having to be regenerated, which saves you. There's something called an OEO conversion, electrical optical conversion. When you have a repeater, the signal comes in, it's received, it's amplified through electronics, and then it's set out as optical again. Passive means there's no component that does that because the distance is within. It's probably single mode fiber because the multi-mode fiber doesn't go that far. If you can imagine, it's like the multi-mode fiber would be a flashlight and a single mode fiber would be a laser pointer, because the multi-mode is what it says. It's multiple modes of light, and they go down the tube and they bounce off the walls, and there's attenuation as it goes down the line. A single mode is like a single beam of light, very narrow, that follows the fiber, which the core of the fiber is a lot narrower, and it doesn't have that bounce effect. It just goes further. But passive optical network is exactly that. It's still there would be in a community network, you'd have a head end where you would be launching the signal from, and it will go out each of the devices. And typically what they do is to make it work. It's interesting because you have pass through. Like you might go to something in your neighborhood, and the signal passes through with no reamplification, but it also takes a frequency off of that and sends it to your house. So it's very interesting the way it works. It works because it doesn't need power. Essentially, you don't have to have a powered monument on your lawn. Like cable TV doesn't use power, obviously. It's because the signal is strong enough when it comes off of the head end that it can go all the way through the network. Same thing with fiber. I actually, it's interesting. 20 years ago, when I was working for Nortel, I interviewed for a job with a brand new product that was a passive optical network using existing gear that we had using what they call CWDM, coarse wavelength division multiplexing. That's where you can send multiple signals over the same fiber because they use different frequencies. They don't interfere with each other. And I was actually hired to be the technical marketing manager for this new product. And I went away to our sales conference that year, and I had expected, the guy said, "We'll have your package ready when you get back, and we'll onboarding and all that." I get back and I don't hear anything. I don't know what's going on. And I look it up. Everybody on that team was laid off.
Wow.
They canceled the product. So had I taken the job before I went away, I would have been in that group of people. But because I said, "I'll wait till I get back, and after I go to the sales conference, I need to see what's coming out and all that." Came back and what happened to those? I went to the building and there's literally the doors are locked. Thank God I didn't take that. But they were way ahead. I mean, this was going to be a residential passive optical, and now you're hearing about it now. And this technology existed 20 years ago.
What were you saying, Nick?
I said, "Damn, Spen's got a job offer," and then he gets back.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to Vegas?
Yeah.
And come back what happens? You go to Vegas, you come back, and everything's different.
Yep.
I mean, I guess that's what happened.
Well, Nortel, it expanded so quickly, and they bought stuff. They bought a company that did optical switching before they even had a product. They bought it based on the technology. They spent billions for it, like $2-3 billion. Never had a product. Got this thing, realized, oops, and shut it down. And it was just, we have money, it doesn't matter.
What year are we talking? Years are we talking about?
99, 2000, 2001.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of on brand with it's not the dot-com boom, but kind of the dot-com boom of just any sort of new technology that's available, let's just buy it. I mean, that's how so many companies went broke in the 2000s.
You hire somebody if they had a pulse.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was so desperate to get people.
some guy in his basement builds a protocol and HP purchases it for 65 or 75 million dollars with no use case. There's just it's unobtainable long term. It's pretty wild though.
I remember back then Vince was telling me that when you go to any of those job fairs or whatever, the company representatives that were there to interview, they said they're trying to convince you why you are good for the job. You don't have to.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. Oh, when can you start? Yeah, that's what it was like.
All right.
Go
ahead.
I want to ask, how did you get your start in all of this, Spence? Did you go to school for it, or
no?
You weren't in the military, right?
No, I was very lucky in that I was one of the last generation of people that got into IBM without a degree.
Okay.
And I was working a couple of years. I worked in. I got out of high school and I decided I'm going to take a year off before I go to school. So I worked for a year, and then when I went back to school, I hated it. I literally hated it. It was like, this is high school all over again.
I feel you on that.
Not learning anything. You know, I couldn't get the classes I wanted because I was a freshman. I was like, nope, not doing it. So I stopped and I got a job working at a company that made printed circuit boards. And I got right away, I was there 2 weeks and they promoted me to be an online inspector for the process. So I had a lot of responsibility. I was 19 and I worked doing that for a couple of years. And then I got a job with a company that made early robots and worked for them for a while. And then I heard about the IBM job as a repair technician. They were looking for people in office products division, which was typewriters up through copiers and word processing stuff. So I interviewed for that job and I got the job based on my hands. I had a test. They showed me this electromechanical device. One side of it worked, the other side didn't. And I had a stopwatch. And they said, okay, identify what's wrong with it. Oh, this roller is missing on the bottom. I could see it right away. All right, well, here's the roller, put it on. And they hit you with a stopwatch. And then I had to do a test on like basic electronics, which I had studied for and knew, and then got hired. And I was a repair technician for IBM in New York City, in Manhattan. And then I got hired to go into field engineering division, which was mainframes, upstate New York, and got that training. So after that, with the stuff that I did, my transcript at IBM, I have the equivalent of a master's degree.
Oh, very cool.
From the training I got from IBM. Yeah. All the stuff, scientific and computing and, just networking and design and sales and marketing and all that crap I took. But I did go back to school. I did get a lot of credits in accounting and things like that. But
yeah, and the rest is history.
Yeah. I had a good ride. Let me tell you, I just got burned out with working with morons. And it wasn't not necessarily the people I worked with, the companies that we supported. We were in technology support for large partners, gave them 45% off on the product where they were supposed to do their own designs. And they come, oh, I got this design. I have to have it done today. It's like, well, that's why we give you 45% off. Not my job. I support you. I handle questions and training and all that, but I'm not doing your job for you. And they demanded that. Nope, sorry.
All right, so listen to this. Inside of hard disk drives are platters, which hold all your data. These are all manufactured by one company in Japan called Showa Denko.
Oh, yes. Yeah, big fan of them.
Which is announced it expects to realize nearline hard drive having storage capacity of more than 30 terabytes by the end of 2023. Deciphering that statement, and this is real thing, we'd assume it will provide platters with a storage capacity of more than 3 terabytes. That means it's going to take 10 platters. sometimes in 2023, to partners such as Toshiba, Seagate, and Western Digital, who will then produce the hard disk drive, targeting hyperscalers and data centers operators. Would expect some of them to end up in NAS and 3.5-inch external hard drives, but that won't be the main target market, as performance is likely to be optimized for nearline usage. I was trying to find out what nearline usage is, and I
Near line.
nearline, and they said they have it as near dash line and just one word, nearline.
You're talking about this is about the company is a manufacturer.
Yeah.
So nearline. I mean, I don't know exactly.
I don't know.
Nearline usage.
What they were saying is that it will be really, really fast.
Well, I think that's kind of what they're. I think like there's a term known as just in time when you're talking about shipping and product availability. Just in time, where it's just in time. It's right when the thing is needed. I wonder if it's similar with that near line, meaning essentially the second that thing is off of the line, it's not. They're not stocking it. Maybe that's they're not putting them in bins to be used at later. They're literally, it's done off the line and it's in a product.
It's a technology and a term that comes from the 70s, believe it or not.
Okay.
Because IBM had a technology called mass storage, which was nearline means it's a compromise between being online and on a shelf.
Okay. Yeah. So, there you go.
Exactly like you say, but it's from a data perspective. It's where they'd have these cylinders of tape in a big, they called it mass storage. It was a big cylindrical machine that had little cubby holes for storage tapes, rolls of tape. And the machine, like a robot, would go out and grab one and pull it in and put it in a player and read the data. So there was a delay.
You know, when you saw a nearline machine, have you seen Star Wars story Rogue One?
No.
I probably remember when you remind me what it was looking at. Yeah.
So it was a movie 4 or 5 years ago. During the third trilogy, when they showed that, there were these new movies, Han Solo, and one was Rogue One.
Rogue One was the story about finding the plans for the Death Star.
Right.
Yeah.
So Rogue One, at the end, there is like I call it a video game scene. It's like they have this task. They need to do this and then do this and then do this and then do that, and they fight. They get in and they go in and to this robotic like arm that pulls out something out of a cylinder. And looking at the image in Wikipedia for a nearline storage, what they did is they took that, just painted white for the imperial white, the way they do imperial stuff. This is the machine they use. This is exactly it.
Well, but this article is saying is performance is likely to be optimized for nearline usage. The performance of these is going to be optimized.
Well, it's a very specific kind of storage in the way that it's handled is very specific.
But again, it may be the writer.
It's not at your fingertips yet, but it will be there fast.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's probably just a more inexpensive way to store, and maybe even more reliable. That you don't have a constant banging away on a disk.
So, Gal, how many do you want?
I'll take 5.
Okay. 30 terabytes. You put a lot of videos on there.
A lot of movies.
A lot of movies. Yep. All right. Spence, you ready for specials?
Yeah, I got it open. Is it really that time already?
Yeah.
Damn. Let me blow this up here. So specials for 529.22. Wow, it's going fast. I can't believe I've been back almost a month already. In another month, I'm going back. Let's see. So, how was your week? Right. I'm designing a website for a very artistic client. They are full of odd requests, but when you get this one, client, the site has to be an experience, not just a destination. I want to embrace the senses, sight, sound, and smell. Me, well, we can add music, but in my experience, I found that users don't really like that. Client, well, the right music, they'll never leave. We can give them a smell too. And me, smell? Yes. When they open the site, I want them to smell a fresh meadow. Me, that's not really possible. Client, can't we make some smoke or scent or something come out of the computer when they open my site? Me, if there's smoke coming out of the computer, trust me, they're not going to be focusing on your site. This is great. I don't know how I found this, but I was just looking for something to put up on the first screen. It was great. And there's a whole bunch of stories like this, like tech support narratives, short ones. It's funny. Oh,
Right.
so a bunch of Memorial Day sales out there. And got Staples and Best Buy, and then some oddball stuff, not necessarily related to a sale. But all right, starting with Staples. We've got deals on Apple AirPods starting at 109. So you've got 3 different versions of it. One, the basic one for 109, and then you've got the two versions of it that support the MagSafe charging, and they're respectively like 139 and 169. So AirPods, the one I have up here is the AirPod Pro, which is normally $249, but $189, so $60 off. That's the top of the line. All right, here you go, Nick. Roku Express 4K for $29, $10 off the regular price. Got a Staples Lachlan chair for big and tall. And I didn't look at what, just how big and how tall. But usually that means supporting weight upwards of, high end over, the top end 200 or more pounds. But these, I have a recliner that's big and tall, and I got it because of tallness, not because if I sit in a regular recliner and my legs would stick out so far, it wasn't comfortable. So this thing, the one I have, is actually good for 300 pounds, and I'm not even 200 pounds. So,
But you give yourself a room to grow. Yeah.
room to grow. That's it. Yeah. Oh, please. I don't even want to think about that. All right. So big and tall chair, 199, which is 100 off. All right. HP Pavilion laptop Core i7 719, which is 210 off. Now, I know purists who are looking for HD webcams and all that might not think this is a great deal. I happen to have the original Logitech C600, it might even be C500 webcam that uses the same form factor. It's a foldable cam. You turn the base around, it covers up the lens. It's for throwing in your kit. And I've had it a long time, over 10 years. I still use it. When I want to do a Zoom meeting on my Lenovo laptop, the Lenovo laptop has a problem with the camera. It's a driver issue. It doesn't work with Zoom. So I'll use that old camera. I don't use a microphone. I use a separate microphone, but it still works. And this one is an HD camera. Yeah, it may not have the processing capability of some of the high-end ones, but it's $29, $30 off the regular price. It's a C615 Logitech. All right, so we've got a bunch of Lenovo IdeaPads. They call them 3i laptops. It's kind of confusing. You say it's a 3i i3, but you have different versions of it. They have the i3 version for $399, which you save $170. They have the i5 version for $549, save $180, and they have an i7 version for $699, and you save $200. Got an AOC 24-inch LED monitor for $119, which is $30 off. They have a bunch of other monitors, different sizes. I said 24, so 27-inch price is $149, save $30. There was so many of these. I decided to not include all the ads because of a lot of good deals. Got a Lacey rugged 2 terabyte secure external hard drive that's got encryption and password protection and all that. It's 119 save 10. Lacey makes good drives, especially for the hardened environment. We've got Seagate One Touch starting at $66.99 for a 2 terabyte version. That's save $16. I have a 4 terabyte for 100, save 15, and a 5 terabyte for 130, save 5. Got some Seagate Barracuda drives. These are full size 3.5-inch form factor SATA drives, desktop drives. 4 terabyte for $72, save 7. 2 terabyte for 53, save 13. Who would imagine just 5 years ago?
Does it say
2 terabyte drive for $53?
Does it say spin speed?
I think I didn't look. To be
Okay.
honest,
Okay.
it was I'd have to dig down because it's not something. Used to be they'd say 5200, 7,
Yeah.
whatever. They'd have the speed. I'm going to guess. I'm trying to remember now. Seagate goes by colors, just like Western Digital does, blue and all black. So this is a green drive. So I don't know if that means it's a slow drive. Remember the old green drives?
WD,
because they were slow drives and they were supposed to be more economical to run. Whatever. Okay, so we've got a 1 terabyte SSD PCI Express 105, save 15. That's from Seagate. We've also got a 500 gig for $54.99. That saved $10. PCI Express. Got an HP Slim Desktop Core i3 for $389, save $110. Got a Pavilion, HP Pavilion Core i5 Desktop for $479, save $190. And I think this is the cheapest entry into the AX environment for Wi-Fi 6. TP-Link Archer AX3000 Wi-Fi 6 dual band router for $119, which is $20 off. And TP-Link has there may be an off-brand that I'm not aware of, but of the major players, Linksys, Netgear, Google, for mesh, TP-Link Deco M4 dual band Wi-Fi mesh 3-pack, $129 from TP-Link, save 20. This is an AC router, but depending on your circumstances, maybe you don't need AX. If you have a lot of interference to overcome, and you need high performance, dedicated dual band streaming and all that, you might want to go with an AX system. But AC for this price is very good. Put it in a medium-sized home, 1 base station, 2 satellites. And finally, there was only 1 printer on the entire Staples ad that was actually on sale. This was the cheapest printer you could get, which is a DeskJet 4155E all-in-one color inkjet, $124. So printer prices, there seem to be a lot of sales. This supposedly comes with 6 months of their ink supply. I know people that use that who print a lot and they like it. It's actually cheaper than for them, but for me, I print so infrequently on color. I still have my Dell color laser, and I just in the last 2 months got a notification that one of my colors was low, and I have a set of cartridges to put in there. I just haven't done it yet. But I used that for years, and the amount of color printing I do, I don't need to have anything else. Okay.
Well, Spence, I can tell you, as a private house, right? We have the inkjet, and I have the subscription, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper than buying their cartridges, the original cartridges.
That's what I hear from people who have it. Yeah,
because you pay like $2 a month, right? They get the metadata about printing, right? The frequency, etc., and all that. But you get full packages once they are depleted. Now, how often? It's not often, but the thing is, it's like as long as you're within your quotas, which is page-based, not ink-based, unfortunately, you're good. And I gotta say, comparing to buying a cartridge for a set of cartridges for over $100, paying what, $24 a year, it's not too
Yeah.
bad of a deal.
And
Yeah.
this has been out there for a while, and they haven't like had the loss leader pricing in the beginning, so they could raise it and make everybody pay. It stayed
Right.
pretty reasonable. Yeah.
Think who's the competitor. The competitor are third-party ink providers, right?
Yep.
Which they need to deal with the hardware and all that. These are the original manufacturers, and they make sure that you don't put anything bad, right?
Yes.
Anything that they didn't sanction into the machine for a premium. They get a subscription, so you are promised to pay them, right? Regardless whether you're using it or not. And the value that you get from it, I think it doesn't eat into their margins, right? I don't think it increases their margin very much, but this is a way of keeping away the competition, the pirates, sort of, right?
Well, two
It's
benefits.
an
You have
interesting.
an annuity income, even if it's small, and you're protecting
exactly.
the market. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea. I mean, I always looked at that with skepticism in the beginning because looking at things like software subscriptions and how the prices
Right.
climb over time, after the introduction. But this has actually stayed pretty good.
Yeah,
And
I
in
got
today's
it on
market-
I got it on a privacy credit card, and it's limited for like a $3 transaction per month. So even if they hike the price suddenly, it'll just it'll
Yeah.
just fail.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so next, that's it for Staples, and this week I went to Best Buy, and because I knew they were going to have a lot of Memorial Day sales, and I did the format a little different because it just didn't make any sense with their. Every time I go there, the format's different on their webpage. So they have a nice little square representation of a picture of the product and the pricing that I can easily capture, or it's got to be a 3-step process. So I chose to do it in a simpler way. Put one picture up there. They're all the same pictures for laptops. Doesn't matter even what the manufacturer is. It's the same
Mhm.
picture. So I figured, well, I'll just put the descriptions up and I won't bother with too much graphics. I think you guys know what a laptop looks like. So, all right. So, big sales over at Best Buy. They've got an Asus 14-inch Celeron N4020 entry-level machine for $139.99, save $120. Now it does have a 128 gig eMMC storage. That's pretty big. Usually it's 32 or 64 in these low-end machines. That's actually pretty large. I'm surprised. So a good entry-level machine was $259, save $120. Got a Dell 15.6-inch touch laptop, Core i5, 256 solid state, 8 gig of memory for $469, save $130. Got a Lenovo IdeaPad 3, 15-inch touchscreen Core i3 for $349, save $150. Got an Element 27-inch 1440 FreeSync monitor. It's a gaming monitor, 615 hertz, one millisecond refresh for $749. I'm sorry, dyslexic, 174.99, $140 to $5 off. And got a whole bunch of different versions of the Western Digital Blue drives. And I included all the prices here for the different sizes. 2 terabyte internal drive for $46.99, save $23. 1 terabyte is $45. So why would you buy a 1 terabyte for
Right.
$45 for $1.99 more? You can get a 2 terabyte. Okay, 3 terabyte 58, save 32. 4 terabyte 70, save 40, and a 6 terabyte for 130, save 70. And the blue is their kind of entry level line, right? I think. What's WD blue? I think you go up into black into red. Red is the NAS drive. Black is the high performance drive. So, okay. All right. Western Digital Easy Store external USB 3.0 hard drive. This is the desktop version, 8 terabyte For $159.99, save 50. And look at the sizes of these drives. 12 terabyte is 220, save 100. 14 terabyte, 240, save 123. 16 terabyte, 290, save 183. 18 terabyte, 330, save 187. And then 20 terabytes, 479, save 70. So you can see the discounts got really good and then started to drop off. And then there wasn't a whole lot of big discount on the 20. I guess because of new product. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like the higher you go, the less the discount. But 20 terabytes in a 3.5-inch form factor. Amazing. Does it use like alien technology? It's got like a gateway through a black hole to other storage. Is that how it works? All right.
We can
So-
tell you, but then we need to kill you.
That's it. That's it. Got to go. Who is the guy that's on? You see videos and web pages about this guy Lazar, who is a guy who supposedly was working at Area 51 and had seen all this alien tech. Bob Lazar, famous for being a guy that is like talks about this stuff and has a whole following. And people think he's a fraud, and other people think no, it's the stuff he talked about like 20 years ago is stuff that we know about now. And so it's interesting to read. I don't have an opinion on whether it's true or not, but alien technology. Okay. This is an interesting product, and it's called the Meta Portal TV, and it uses the same Facebook portal technology, but this is an HDMI connected webcam and video conferencing device that works with the Meta conferencing system. Now, I don't know how
A
it
Portal
works with
TV,
other-
yeah, I have that.
You have it? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it works. It's HDMI connected, has a lot of
Yep.
features to it. It integrates with Alexa. And that was part of the article I read. It said, I'm not sure what they had to give up or do to get to work with Alexa, because they're not exactly,
Well, they don't have their own voice.
they don't have their own, but I mean, that
activated.
makes a
Yeah.
big difference. I mean, it works. And I think it works with Google too. But $99.
Well, the reason we bought it is because it is integrated into. It was called Facebook Portal. It's integrated with Messenger and WhatsApp, and because
Yeah.
WhatsApp is so prevalent in Israel, this was a great solution for us to keep in touch with our granddaughter. She's getting to 3 years old soon, and discussing with her over television to television is fantastic. And this is the simplest setup for such a video conferencing solution.
Is there any
So-
subscription price for this, or does it just work with
Nothing.
Work?
No,
that's great.
No,
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so-
yeah, it's Meta. You are hooked up to their ecosystem, but it's a fantastic piece of technology, and it adds all of the filters and stuff, and so you can spend some quality time with the other side. It's as if you're visiting their living room and they're visiting yours. It's nice.
Yeah, I like the idea. Okay, next one is a package of Google Nest Hub 7 smart display with a Nest Smart programmable thermostat for $178. That's $50 off the regular price, bought separately, but intended for people who want to get it. I mean, this doesn't require a separate hub, correct?
No,
No, so it'll work right out of the box, and you can use the Nest 7-inch smart display and do all the other.
yeah, because the Nest. So the screen one, right? That's basically an embedded, dedicated Android-like based system, and the thermostat is Wi-Fi connected. So
Yeah.
there's no need for a separate hub. You can also control it from your phone or whatever.
Oh
right?
yeah,
So
the phone, and they mentioned that in the. So if you
By the
were looking
way,
for-
yeah, if you're into Home Assistant that we keep on talking, don't buy a Nest. It'll be hell to connect.
Mm.
They're not really integrating easily with open third party. So
And that seems to be intentional.
that seems to be that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Finally, Amnon, this is for you. I think you need to upgrade your television.
Yeah.
It's an 85-inch class Samsung TV. It's $700. It's such a deal. It's $700 off. You have to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I saved all this money. I spent $2,600 to save $700. But hey, it's worth it. So just think of the better experience you'll have in your living room watching TV.
Gal, what did you say was a kind of like a gimmick OLED or QLED?
No,
Q.
QLED.
Q.
QLED is the fake version of
Okay.
OLED.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Look,
the
it's an
marketing term. Yeah.
It is sort of an improvement on LED, but it's like, especially in the price point they're putting it, it is competing with OLED, but is in nowhere near what OLED provides.
Yeah.
So
All right.
But it's Neo QLED.
Yeah.
Whatever Neo means.
the LEDs are smaller, but yeah,
That's it.
yeah, that's usually what it means.
All right. So moving on now to interesting tech from days gone by. So there's so many things I'd never heard of. Did you know that there was something called your robotic operating buddy for the original Nintendo system, or one of the Nintendo, not the original Nintendo, the Nintendo Entertainment System? In 1985, they pitched as they called it a Trojan horse toy for retailers spooked by the video game industry's nosedive in 1983. With 4 AAA batteries and a NES gamepad input, Rob, or Robotic Operating Buddy, helped players solve game puzzles by seeing flashes from the TV screen. This is weird. And then moving its mechanized arms to restack or twirl tiny spindle-laden discs. A squat, idiosyncratic, and yanked from the production after only 2 games, you can nonetheless spot Rob's DNA in everything from 1986's Johnny 5 and 2008's Wally. Just the form factor and nuances of the robot. So that's pretty cool. Didn't last very long. Oh, well. I don't know why I know why they have the name for this. I'm not going to talk about the name much. But the idea of bone is that
Good
it's
idea.
laid on your collarbone and actually transmitted frequencies through your skeletal system for you to get a full experience. Kind of like they have headsets that use the mastoid bone behind the ear to give you like people who ride motorcycles have
Yeah.
these headsets
So the
that
wind
use the
doesn't.
bone technology to
Yeah.
where they actually send the frequency through so you can hear better with a lot of background noise. Same concept, right? The idea was to get sound to resonate through the wearer's bones, simulating a feeling of listening to high-end audio system on the go. The $69.95 gadget, released in 1979, was marketed to joggers as a less bulky alternative to headphones. The company behind the Bone phone claimed to have sold 10,000 units in 1981. And at least according to an ad found in an issue from Popular Science from that year. Never saw one of these.
Me neither.
It doesn't look very comfortable to wear. It might be, but. And finally, I didn't know that in 1995, Nintendo had this. Did you ever see this? Oh, the Virtual Boy?
Well, I remember 1995 being the year of VR because that's when headsets were starting to show up. Maybe this was one of them, but no, I don't remember.
I said, well,
Nintendo
look at the form factor and how huge this thing is, right? And wait, it's got something. It's got a controller stuck into the bottom of it, right? And
well, it's not stuck. I see.
It's
the
part
cable.
of it. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be part of it. It said, but it was virtual in name only, employing stereoscopic technology, not unlike a ViewMaster, to convey the illusion of depth. The device's awkward ergonomics, you had to place it on the table and lean into it. Primitive red on black graphics and muddled launch lineup, earning a critical drubbing. Sales were so dreadful that Nintendo quietly discontinued the system less than a year after its arrival.
Oh, so you weren't wearing it.
No, this
You're
shows the guy
aware.
wearing it, but I'm not sure what he said by leaning
I don't
into
know
it.
that
Oh
uh,
no, maybe it's on a pole.
on a
and
on a
because
could
it's
be.
heavy, it makes sense.
on a tripod and you just lean
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, looks awkward and probably
And you need
fun.
somebody else to help you with it.
You need an assistant. That's why it was so expensive, because they sent somebody to your house to help you wear it. That's it. All right.
All
So
right.
interesting though to see failed products that have an influence on future products, right? Somebody tried to do something, a couple of different people tried to do something and never made it, but finally somebody figured it out and made a product and it was successful. So, yep.
Yep. Probably has 2 phones in there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right. That's it for specials for what is today? Today is May 29th, 2022.
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks, Spence. So, California could soon hold social media companies responsible for harming children who have become addicted to their products, permitting parents to sue platforms like Instagram and TikTok for up to $25,000 per violation under a bill that passed the state assembly on Monday. The bill defined addiction as kids under 18 who are both harmed either physically, mentally, emotionally, developmentally, or materially, and who want to stop or reduce how much time they spend on social media, but they can't because they are preoccupied or obsessed with it. Business groups have warned that if the bill passes, social media companies would most likely cease operation for children in California rather than face
That's
the
what
legal
my
risk.
very first thought was that. This
Yeah.
just means that just stop.
Yeah.
It'll just stop.
I mean,
And
they
because it's not worth it.
they covered everything: physically, mentally, emotionally, developmentally, or materially. Hey, I want to have it. I wanted, I mean, kids. Geesh, this is a no lose lawsuit kind of. So yeah, I mean,
It's amazing how the stuff that comes out of California and how they have no vision whatsoever of unintended consequences.
So
It doesn't. Oh well, oh wow, we did that, and gee, the world blew up because of it. Oh, sorry. But
Yep.
their typical strategy would, well, no, it was a good idea. We'll do it again and make it more complicated. So,
Yep.
oh well.
Some people
Now,
are going to make
I-
money.
I don't doubt that there's a good reason to have something in place to protect children, but doing it this way, just
Yeah,
making it wide
That's
open,
ridiculous.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, the parents need to take some responsibility too.
Yep.
I just still
All right.
bothers me as a parent when I go to a restaurant and I see a baby just barely able to hold a device
Mm.
sitting in the booster seat with a phone
Mhm.
because the parents want to talk and to keep the kid quiet, you give them this phone to play with.
Yeah.
That's why we brought coloring books, and that's why restaurants used to have coloring books and crayons and stuff. It's a different. It's just
Different world.
It's a different world.
Yep.
Yeah. I love there's a restaurant in Fairbanks. It says no Wi-Fi. We have no Wi-Fi. Talk to each other.
So former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey stepped down from Twitter board of directors last Wednesday. Dorsey had already begun to distance himself from the social media platform he co-founded, leaving Twitter's chief executive role late last year to focus on Block, formerly known as Square. The plan for Dorsey to leave the board has been in place since he stepped down as CEO. At the time, the company noted that Dorsey would stay on the board until his term expires in the 2022 meeting of stockholders. Dorsey's exit from the board marks the end of an era, as Dorsey has been involved with the company in an official capacity since its founding. Now, with SpaceX and Tesla billionaire Elon Musk still poised to buy Twitter, cold feet withstanding, the author says, the world's most prominent real-time social network is on the cusp of a lot of change. Elon Musk, cold feet. That just doesn't go together, does it? If
I
he
don't think
gets
he's got
but-
cold feet. I
It-
think, yeah.
if he
So
if he gets cold feet, he just take a few $1,000 bills, put them in his shoes, and light them up.
well,
No,
the
that's
problem
not
with
it.
the problem with this idea that he has cold feet is he's on the hook, at least as of the real question is, and nobody knows besides Elon. And let's, I've never been a huge Elon Musk fan. I disagreed with his philosophy. I don't have a you know, Elon Musk built Tesla and did a lot of this stuff with a lot of government money.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
He's a smart businessman.
Here's the thing: I don't agree with, but the system was in place and he took advantage of
Yep.
it, and I don't fault him for that. But personally, I just have I'm a bit. I'm not a big fan of it. Nevertheless, he's not an idiot. Let's lay that out there.
Right.
I don't know how this contract was written, this tentative purchase agreement, but it seems to me that, first of all, he is not going to pay the 44, 45, 46.20, whatever it was, $46 a share or something like that. There's not a chance in hell he's going to pay that. I don't think that was ever part of the goal. Looking at the stock price right now, it's sitting at $40, meaning he's going to be paying a premium, pretty significant premium for these shares. But it seems to me that this whole thing has been to try and kind of expose and out Twitter, and he might not even want to buy it. He might just drive the company into the ground and then kind of walk away as as it simmers away. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but the amount of damage that he has done to Twitter in the past couple of months is remarkable with some of the expose stuff. So I'm not even sure he was ever interested in buying it, to be perfectly honest. So I at this point, I don't think that deal's going to go through. I don't see it happening.
We'll have to wait and see. Again, and still talking about Twitter. Twitter has agreed to pay $150 million fine after federal law enforcement officials accused the social media company of illegally selling advertisements based on an improper use of personal data over 6 years.
They would never do that.
Listen, how they did that. In court document made public on Wednesday, the Federal Trade Commission and the Department of Justice say Twitter violated a 2011 agreement with regulators, which the company vowed not to use information gathered for security purposes, like users' phone numbers and email addresses.
Yep.
To help advertisers target people with ads. Federal investigators say Twitter broke that promise. As the complaint notes, Twitter obtained data from users on the pretext of harnessing it for security purposes, but then ended up also using the data to target users with ads. Twitter requires users to provide a telephone number and email address to authenticate accounts. That information also helps people reset their passwords and unlock their accounts when the company blocks logging in due suspicion activity. suspicious. But until at least September 2019, Twitter was also using that information to boost its advertising business. And it goes on, and they were really using the two-faction authentication information to target people. And that is
How do they do that?
I mean, I'm glad that they're fined.
Yeah.
But and that it was exposed. But are you surprised?
No.
No.
But
Not at
it's, I mean, we're talking about all that stuff coming out now. I mean, this is also going to put a damper on.
We need to turn the clocks back, though. We need to go back to why Twitter is even in the business to be so, why Twitter is even available to purchase, and it's because of their advertising.
Yeah.
And what Elon Musk has been exposing, or at least attempting to expose over the past couple of months, has been the high number, in at least what he's attempting to show, is that Twitter has an incredibly high number of bot accounts that are not real users.
Right.
Which is, there's, a bot account doesn't mean it's just spamming, but an account that just, for example, there's plenty, like I follow a bunch of Twitter accounts for the weather service. It's a bot that just reposts severe storm and weather warnings. That's a bot account. That is, you can't advertise to a bot. There's no physical person sitting in front of that account. So the big problem here with Twitter is that their advertising market has, compared to Facebook and Google, is almost non-existent. They have struggled so hard to sell advertising, I believe, because companies aren't getting returns on their investments. And that makes sense. If 40% of your active daily users aren't users that are actually using the service, and they're just bots that are reposting things, then of course you're not going to get a good ROI, because nobody's actually seeing your ad, or the quote unquote accounts that are seeing it aren't real accounts in terms of accounts that people are interacting with. So the only reason Twitter even looked at Elon Musk's potential takeout and purchase is because their advertising market is a disaster. They can't sell anything. And it's a free service. The only way they work is with advertising. It's the same thing with Facebook and Google. The only reason Gmail's free and Google's free and Facebook is free is because they can. I mean, I'm on Facebook right now and I'm looking at an ad for a service called Skull Shaver, and it's a razor that you can shave your head with. I mean, that's the only reason Facebook can work. And Twitter has been unable to do that. Elon Musk claims it's because of a high number of bots that are using the service and not actual users. And that's the big struggle, is their ad market is a disaster. That's what this is all about.
What kind of demographics do you want for your bots? Just give me a description. I can create them all, no problem. How many? When do you need them? Now? Thousands of them? No problem.
And that's what it's coming down to for advertisers. Why would you invest money in a platform that you can't get any ROI on? Because nobody's using the service.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
if this gets to the point where, I mean, the government's going after them for misusing advertising and for advertising, and what happens if the actual advertisers go after them?
Well, that's
Right.
exactly what's going to happen. Is you think these lawsuits are bad? How about these companies that have invested hundreds of millions of dollars into ads on Twitter based on, frankly, bullshit metrics that Twitter was putting forward? You're talking about a serious, serious legal problem for Twitter, which is, I think, why they're open to getting out.
Yep.
Because it's an unsustainable business model.
It
does not work.
It could be that the skeleton that's left of this whole thing could recover, but it's got to shed all this other stuff first.
Well, here's the thing, and I've been saying this for weeks now. Twitter is not going anywhere. Twitter is a very highly used service, and nobody can argue that. I mean, I use it constantly. It is a great source for news, especially on Twitter. One of the hashtags that I've got on my track that I see all of the updates on is NCPOL, NCPOL, and NCGA. It's their political hashtags for North Carolina politics and the North Carolina General Assembly. And there's phenomenal information on there. But the active user count, I don't think is anything what Twitter has actually been able to prove. And that's what this is all going to come down to. So they're in a world of hurt. They're absolutely in a world of hurt.
Keep going because I have to replace the monitor here.
Place the monitor. Okay. Yeah. Twitter is in a really, really tough situation.
Why do you think it's unique to Twitter compared to Facebook?
Because I think so. The thing that everybody hates about Facebook, myself included, is the timeline is very weird, right? It's even if you put it in recent, what they call quote unquote recent, it still shows other posts in there, right? That's a problem. Twitter, because it's a direct timeline, like if you use something like TweetDeck or TweetBot or something like that, it's a direct timeline. It's a lot more lucrative for quote unquote bots. And a bot is not necessarily a bad thing. For example, IEM bot is, there are 120 National Weather Service offices across the United States. There is an IEM bot Twitter account for every single weather service that just
there's
reposts
bots for everything. I know.
Exactly. That is not, it's not, when you think bot, people think, bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing. It's just a bot account that relays information. The problem is you can't count that as an active user because it's not a user. They don't engage. They don't see anything that you post. It's an API bot that's making posts. How can you advertise to that account? You can't. Facebook doesn't have that because their timeline isn't very lucrative for it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think that's the big difference.
Let me ask you this. Let's say you and me, we buy Twitter.
Sure, sure. 45 and a half million, $45.5 per share.
and we want to make it, we want to change this, right? Because one of the things that we hate is the fact that we are being fed advertisement that we didn't ask for, right? As a user, right, I don't want it, but as a producer of as the distributor of content, right, they need to pay the bill somehow. Now, before Twitter existed, nobody knew they needed something like this, right? Nobody knew they would use something like this. So making everything free was definitely the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
What if they change the model, right? And we take it and we say, okay, out with the advertising as it is today, but we'll give you another outlet. If you want to put a bot, fine, just pay. And I'm not talking about pay like thousands of dollars as compared to advertisement as it was, but what this would allow, they'll still have all of their social networking capabilities of recommending certain channels to you, etc. Those channels, those accounts, they can be bots. If it's a bot, somebody's paying to put something there. The low frequency ones or the ones that aren't followed a lot, those will pay less. The ones that are followed more will pay more. Suddenly you're shifting to the choice of the audience, and the audience is still free, but the bots are paid. I wonder if something like this, maybe this is something that Musk has been trying to peddle something. I don't know. I don't follow the news on it, but I'm just thinking there is this ecosystem it is flawed. It is bankrupt in its in its um, in its dealing in the way it right. And so how would changing that will still work, right?
Well-
That's the big question.
Well, and I think that is exactly the $1 million question that Twitter's trying to figure out right now. And there's many different ways to skin that cat. But I think what would go better is you can, with your thing, with your proposition as well, Gal, is just being more honest to the advertisers. If you told them, hey, instead of let's just assume that Twitter's saying, oh, hey, well, you can reach 150 million active users or some ridiculous number. Maybe the number's actually 40 million active users, which, by the way, is still a crap load of people that you can reach. I think it's coming down to the reach that a company is being told. And I'll admit, I've never done any ads on Twitter, so I'm not sure how their marketplace works. But I know for a fact social media ads work because Facebook makes a freaking fortune doing it. And I've done Facebook ads. They work very, very well. If you do a Facebook call to action ad, we've done some political ads before. They work very well. It's very relatively affordable. You can see your metrics. You can see your reach. You can very granularly target people. And I think maybe that's what Twitter, they just need to, they won't ever admit it in their current form, but they need to essentially admit that this is not who is on our platform. This is who's on our platform, and this is how you advertise towards them. Because it's still a huge user base. It's just not as big as they're saying.